Welcome, y'all, back to the Ghetto. Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes, we are getting in the Halloween spirit. As you can see, I got my Halloween piece ready. And today, I got the Nekroz deck profile ready to show off. Now, as we all know, the ban list just came out, and Nekroz is pretty much at full power. Me being the passionate Nekroz player that I am, I had to jump on a new Nekroz build, which is a pretty basic one, honestly. Most Nekroz players have a similar build, I imagine. I have not looked at any new Nekroz profiles since the ban list has dropped. I went ahead and just put my own together, and yeah, just me showing it off. I do got some new tune stuff coming out. I know a lot of my all my 50 subscribers have been waiting to see new tune stuff. I know a lot of people appreciate the new tune stuff, which I do got a new tune deck together, which is very similar to my last one. So not too different, but just utilizing some of the newer cards. Anyway, this is Nekroz back to full power, minus the Genlock, of course, because Genlock was OP. But since we are in the Halloween festivities, let's christen this deck profile and get it going. All right, let's get into this. So, to start, we got triple Valkyrius, of course, Nekroz Valkyrius. Very important card, whether you're discarding it to end your opponent's battle phase, which is very handy, or you have it on the field and you're using the tribute effect, which lets you draw cards. So, Nekroz Valk, I've always ran this card at 3 since this deck was released. I've been a very hardcore Nekroz advocate. Now, if you didn't know, now you know, which of course you know. Of course you know. Nekroz Unicorn is back at 3. The one that just stops all the extra deck shit from going off, which is really all you need it for. It's that card to play to keep on the field to disrupt your opponent's extra deck monsters. Another card that does that, which a lot of people don't really utilize, the triple Bionic. Bionic has a nice effect, which is pretty sweet if you open up. Usually I try to open up with both of these on the field. And, you know, if they survive to the next turn, you negate all your opponent's stuff with Unicorn. And then you bounce it off the field with Bionic back to the deck. You keep it at 3. Of course, Bionic's always been at 3. It's a trip to think that this card was like $130 at one time, which is pretty fucking nuts. It was a very expensive card. I remember I was like one of the first ones to complete it around here to get a full Nekroz build going, and started whooping ass with it early on. Let's see. Triple Clausulus. I run it at 3 because I utilize this deck to the fullest. I try to summon every variant you can, and you get some more Kaleidoscope plays if you run more Clausulus. And to round off the Nekroz, of course, your double Trish, which I have always kept at 2. Very, very handy. People don't like to face Trish. Good way to get annoying stuff off the field and out of your opponent's hand and graveyard. So it's a pretty nice effect, that Trish. And to round off the ritual spells, I have triple Ben 10, Cyberagel Benton, basically, which is really nice because you contribute it to summon back your Bionics from the grave, and you can also use it to summon your Trishes, and then you get a nice little search off of it, which I'll show you, of course, what I search in a bit. Of course, our boy Shurit is back at 3, which is really sweet. As you know, he can take the tribute, the entire tribute for a Nekroz monster, which comes in handy. Not to mention when he's tributed, you could search a warrior type, which is your Trishes, your Klauses, and your Brios. Which also you could tribute with the Valkyrius too, and as long as he's tributed, you gain that effect. So it's pretty dope. Pretty dope, man. All right, getting into the other monsters now. Main searchers that I run are the scepters and the chairs. I do run the sets because it makes good plays. You get a lot of monsters out. You get a lot of draws off of them. So a lot of times I'm searching this card out with Cyberagel Benton and just trying to get some good monsters and combos going. And then to round off the monsters, just of course the double Manju, which is kind of like rule of thumb. I think you have to run Manjus or Sanjus in any ritual deck. Like I said, pretty much rule of thumb, I'd say. Ritual spells. I've never changed this variant, honestly. it's always been two of, which is your two Kaleidoscopes, which is really nice. Sends all your extra deck monsters, or sends extra deck monsters to the grave so you can summon ritual monsters. Your Necrozes, of course. Mirror, always clutch. And then our finally secret rares. But yes, the double cycle, of course. I had cycle at 3 for a minute because you do tend to use it a lot, but I have a pretty decent way of recycling cards in this deck. Triple prep rights, I think, is also a rule of thumb when you're playing ritual monster, especially if you got so many targets like you do in this deck. Just helps give the deck so much more gas. As people remember, Nekroz, they have a pretty big gas tank. I do run the field card known as Ritual Sanctuary, which I think is really good for a lot of ritual decks. Probably every ritual deck can utilize this card, but it works really well in here, especially because you're summoning Seraphs. You know, you can summon your Seraphs back from the grave. You know, stuff starts going off. You get your searches. You can search for your Ben 10s and your ritual spells. So it's pretty good to utilize, honestly. And I combo really well because of that card. And then the one terraforming to search it, and of course Rhoda, because you have a lot of targets for your Rhoda. You have your Shurits and your Colossalises that you could target for Rhoda. And that's pretty much it. This is a 42 card deck, and that pretty much lines it up. Which is honestly, it's been pretty solid. I've been playing it online. I've been kicking some ass. It's pretty good. I do got some gameplay that I'm gonna upload later. So stay tuned for that gameplay, because yeah, you're not gonna want to miss it. Let's get into the extra deck. Now, anybody can utilize their extra deck in their own way, of course. I have a few select monsters that I like to I pretty much always ran. But then, of course, I threw a couple links. Not too many. I don't go too link crazy, but the Skull Dread does come in handy at times. I do like making the Skull Dread. Looks like my lighting just went off. So, backup lighting for now. So then I got the Nightmare package, Phoenix, and Cerberus, I can't remember. Anyway, just to clear field for annoying stuff if you have to. Skull Dread really does get you some, really does go off pretty well because you get a lot of good draws off of it. And then, of course, sometimes that extra summon comes in handy if you're summoning like Seraphs. All the Kaleidoscope targets, Barbaroid, level 12, your Star Eater, level 11, and then Twin Buster is level 10. And then, of course, since we have the 3 Unicore, there's no use of not running the triple Herald of Arclights, honestly. They all come in handy. So these are all the your Kaleidoscope plays to summon Nekroz monsters with Kaleidoscope. Then I got this Evil Swarm for Seraph, the Star Seraph shenanigans, as well as Delteros to pop stuff off the field, which is pretty nice, actually. You get you clear the field really sweet in this deck, and it helps out. Small Utopia package, just the one Utopia and the Lightning. And then I have Emerald, which I hardly make. Also Abyss Dweller, which I hardly make. These two could probably be anything else, but the Emerald has come in handy a couple times, but just very rarely. So as for now, that's pretty much the deck. I don't want to spend too much time and make this deck profile video longer than it needs to be. I have a pretty basic start. Usually I just try to open my field with Unicore and Brio. And if I have a Valk in hand, I mean, that's helpful because then I know I have a better chance of this board surviving till next turn and then possibly clearing their extra decks monsters with Bryonic. So that's very possible. But a lot of times it looks like this. I'll have this on the field. It's pretty much like my opening because I pretty much searched this with Ben 10 to summon this back from the grave. And really it's just to have this card, you know, the extra Seraph in hand, because at some point Ritual Sanctuary is going to send spells back to the deck, and I'm going to special summon this from the graveyard. Like, I pretty much anticipate this board being cleared. Like, it's not a solid board. Your Unicore is there to just mess up all of their extra deck plays, you know, for their first turn, especially if you're going first. You know, opening with Unicore just kind of puts that pressure right away because it negates all their extra deck summoning, which is really sweet. Like I said, assuming this board makes it till next turn, then you have a lot more plays, you know, little monsters to mess with, you know. But even if it doesn't, it's really not a big deal, honestly, because we have 3 of these now. You know, you have 3 Brio, you have 3 Unicore. So if these get cleared off the field, And then, you just get to banish your monsters, to search out all your spells, your ritual spells. And then the cycle just keeps going. Like I said, the deck has plenty of gas. Everybody knows about that Nekroz shit. I know about that Nekroz shit because I've been playing this deck for too long. But I'm happy. I'm happy as fuck to see that this deck's back at full power. What I would consider full power. So, yeah, gameplay coming soon for sure. Just y'all can see how the deck operates. I mean, if you know Nekroz, you know Nekroz. But anyway, I'll have some shit to share later just because it'd be good content to share and show people how the deck's operating. But yeah, that's basically it for now. Thanks for tuning in to Ghetto Yu-Gi-Oh! Keeping it real, keeping it ghetto. This is the Nekroz deck 2020. Tune deck coming later, so stay tuned. Peace, y'all. Happy Halloween.